All right, what's up, guys? We are back with another podcast episode, and this one, Will and I are actually recording this early because he's going to be out of the country for like 2 weeks. Jeez. So we're trying to make sure you guys get your podcast episodes. Will, where are you going?
I'm going to Italy, to the Amalfi Coast.
That sounds very fun.
Yes, and Venice.
Where was my invite?
You don't like 2 weeks?
I mean, that's true. I don't like seafood, but still, I mean, come on. Like, it's like formalities, right? Like, you got to invite like your cousin to your wedding. Otherwise, you know, like it looks kind of, even if you know they're not going to come, you still got to invite them.
I'll think about it next time. You're not quite there yet.
Ah, dang it. I'll get to cousin status eventually. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, guys, we have a bunch of questions. We put out a thing on Instagram and on the Discord and basically just said, hey, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them, pickleball or not pickleball related. So we're going to go through a bunch of those for this episode. So I'll kick off the first one. And that one was, does speedcubing help with your reaction times in pickleball? Will, you want to go ahead and just answer what you think? Because you thought when we met, maybe it might help.
Yes. Short answer is no. So if you guys haven't seen it, on my channel, Pickleball Will, one of the first, well, maybe not one of the first videos, but an early video that I did was when I first met Chris, and I flew up to Minnesota to challenge Chris, and I found out that he is a world-class speedcuber, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to smoke me in these hand battles. And you'll see, I did a little skit and everything, but clearly that wasn't the case. You can watch the rest of the video. Comment on that video. It's just... how good is the pickleball studio, right? Comment if you made it to the kitchen in those comments so I know that you watched it because you went there from this podcast episode. But the short answer is no. Chris, you have anything to add to your subpar performance with your hand speeds?
I would have to agree with that statement. Now, what's funny about this question is there's a thing in speedcubing called look ahead, which is basically like while you're doing one thing, how well can you look ahead to the next step, like track all the pieces as you're turning and figure out what the next thing you need to do is. And usually the better you can look ahead, the faster you can solve, because like you just never have to stop turning and figure out what you have to do. My look ahead, like for the level I was at, it wasn't very good. And I feel like the same thing has happened in pickleball where my hand speed for my level or my anticipation skills are not very good. So really, maybe it did translate over. It just didn't translate in the way I hoped it would translate.
Okay, that makes sense. It's literally called look ahead. I would have thought you would name it something cooler like premonition or foresight or... Just like if you're gonna name it something, call it something cool.
Dude, we were a bunch of nerdy little kids. We weren't thinking that hard.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the next question. What are some of your favorite tournament snack and drinks to provide energy and hydration? Oh well, Chris, I know you have lots to say about this.
I only have 2 things that immediately come to mind, and when I was adding this comment to the list, I actually laughed to myself because all I could think of were those Little Bites muffins that I've recently become obsessed with because they were at a local tournament of ours, and I just kept devouring these muffins. Like, they're so flippin' good.
Yes, the Little Debbie mini bite muffins that come in the bag. They're bite-sized.
They're so good. Here's the only issue I have with them. There's not enough in the bag. I could eat like 4 of those bags because there's like 5 muffins in each bag. And they're tiny. They're literally bite-sized. But like,
yeah, it's probably for the best that you don't have more than 5 in one bag. Probably for the best. But here's the thing. All right, guys, listen to this, okay? This is how much Chris loves muffins. Each time we go somewhere, okay, we go grocery shopping, the first thing he buys are not only these little bite muffins, he buys actual regular size muffins, and he gets like 4 packs of those things. 4. And they come in like 4, sometimes they come in like 6. Okay, Chris gets 4 of those bad boys, and every single morning and probably before bed he devours 1 or 2. And
Oh no!
I wake up
for
the next
breakfast. I
morning.
eat at least 2, and I
Yeah.
could probably eat 3.
I know. It's crazy. I eat like 1 and I'm like, okay, this is a bit much. And then typically I like to have fruit or just something, I guess, on the lighter side because Chris knows from experience that in the mornings, depending on what I ate the night before, I can get very bloated and it's not great. It's not a great feeling to go in trying to play or compete feeling bloated.
Definitely not. Muffins are so good. The only problem is I just need a bunch of them. And it's funny. This last trip, I was like, okay, got to make sure you save some muffins for Will. And then like the end of the day, I'd look and I'm like, dude, I don't even know if he had a muffin. I'm like, I could have had like 3 more muffins. By the end of the trip, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I ate 75% of the muffins.
Yeah, this is true. And then when it comes to hydration, for the most part, I just drink water. Sometimes I'll take like half of a packet of electrolytes or maybe like a little bit of Gatorade or some other, sports drink. But I typically drink only half of it or I drink half and then I fill it with water because some of those drinks are just way too sweet for me.
Yeah. I just drink, Element and water. I like Element because there's no sugar in it. Tastes pretty good. And then, obviously you need to drink a bunch of water. But during a tournament, that's about all I'll drink just because that's probably what you should be drinking.
No, this is true. I should probably maybe drink more of it. But I don't know. Something about, the elements aren't that bad. There's something about the aftertaste of those things that just kind of get to me. And I can't drink anymore. And I still feel like I'm thirsty. And I see that, Chris, you do it. You usually bring 2 water bottles, one to fill up with the electrolyte packs, and then another one specifically just for water. So I might do that, but traveling with 2 water bottles is a huge pain.
It's definitely annoying carrying 2 water bottles around, but the main reason I end up doing it is sometimes like during a match, I'm like, okay, I should drink some more electrolytes, or other times I'm like, I just want water. And then the main thing is if I use the same water bottle, usually let's say I drink the electrolyte and then I fill it with water. There's a small, it's like a watered down version taste of the electrolyte. And I'm like, I want one or the other. I want all electrolyte or I want all water. So the taste when it's like mixed is weird to me, but one of the other is usually great. Yeah.
All right,
Also,
cool.
if anyone goes and buys an Element, highly recommend the citrus salt one. That one is awesome. That is definitely my favorite one by a long shot.
All right, citrus salt. All right, bring that pack next time because you always give me, I feel like, the crappy flavors. What do you bring? Watermelon? Just kidding. Watermelon.
No, watermelon and raspberry. Watermelon is pretty good. Raspberry, of the flavors I have, raspberry might be my least favorite. It's not bad. It's just that citrus salt is so good. They have a grapefruit one too that I want to try.
Ooh, grapefruit.
But yeah, I feel like that one might be good. I'll have to try that at some point. But anyways, next one. You already know what I'm going to say for this, Will, but it's what's the sexiest shot you've ever hit? And if you guys haven't seen it yet, by the time this video's out, there's probably several videos of me doing it. There's one on Instagram where I'm playing singles against my brother, and then there should be the bread and butter filth review, and it's in the middle of that video. But we've deemed this shot the filth, and I don't have a good way to explain it other than that. If you're going to hit a backhand dink on the left side, instead of doing a backhand dink, you like turn your back to your opponent and then you like hit the ball backwards, like towards your back. You'll have to just go watch a video on it. Go ahead.
Some people will call it the pancake like shot, or it's essentially what it is. It's essentially a tweener shot without going in between
your legs. Yes.
That is essentially
the paddle
what it
stays
is.
on your right side. Yep.
Yeah. I don't think we have a name for it or anything. You've probably seen Christian Alshon do it, and some other pros have obviously done it as well. The only difference the way Chris does it is that he does it off of a dink. Most people will do it off of like a running shot that should be a backhand or a slice or something, or maybe you're chasing down a lob to do it. But no, Chris does it on a very wide dink, and that's what he likes to do it.
But see, that's the best time to do it, in my opinion, because everyone's like, oh, he's just going to hit a cross-court dink, and then you slap this thing, and they're like, what the heck was that? It's so good. It's so good.
You already know that if they do get it back, you're totally out of position, and your back's turned the other way.
That's obviously what my partner's for. You see, look, you know my body language enough now that the next tournament we go to, I know you're going to know when I'm going to do it, and you'll be ready. I have full confidence in you.
Yes, I'll be right. I know exactly when you're going to do it. I'm surprised. I mean, I am surprised, but I'm not surprised that you chose that shot because I feel like you have some really good Yates shots as well.
I mean, the Yates is definitely, here's the thing. The Yates is an actually good speed up. The filth is like desperation, or you're up by a ton of points and you want to screw with someone. To be honest, just go watch it. Try it out, guys. Let me know what you think of it. But I have fun with it. Anytime I'm successful, I just laugh so hard because it's so bad. But it's hilarious when you beat someone with it.
Yes, it is.
How about you?
The sexiest shot I've ever hit. Well, I don't know if it's the sexiest. I do like to hit the Batman every once in a while, but I don't know if I would consider that my sexiest shot I've ever hit. I think the sexiest shot I probably have ever hit has to be some sort of variation on an ernie. There's this one time. All right, so if you're ernieing, I'm right-handed. So if you're ernieing on the left side of the court, right? Typically it's a forehand, right? Okay, so there's this one time I feel like I was running from the middle of the court or running a little bit cross court, and I jumped the line. But as I'm jumping, I'm rotating my body. Instead of hitting a forehand, I hit a backhand, but I rotate around the ball ever so slightly so that I hit a backhand roll that went super sharp angled, like cross court, and they just couldn't get it. Does that make sense?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty sick.
And it looked really, I don't know, it felt kind of weird because it looked like I was like pushing my butt out one way and my hand was going out the other way as I'm trying to land outside of the kitchen. But when I hit it, I was like, there's no way anybody is ever getting that. But that's probably the sexiest shot that I've ever hit.
That's pretty good.
Yep. All right, let's go on to the next one. Plans to incorporate a measurement for power or pop. That's an interesting one.
Yes. So I get asked this all the time these days, and guys, I'd love to incorporate something if I could just find something that I thought would do well. I've thought of several different ideas. Obviously, there's the radar gun, which...
Before you get into it, we should probably explain to the audience how we define power and pop. I plan on doing this on my own channel with like a separate video, but you should kind of describe this to your audience, and I'll describe my definitions of it for those who don't know.
Go ahead. Okay,
so pop and power, obviously they are, in my opinion, correlated, but there are some differences and nuances. John Koo actually made a little video or a statement about it. I think he mentioned it in one of his videos, but basically pop to me is the speed at which the ball bounces off of the paddle face if you were to not apply any force or very little force, right? Like at the no volley zone at the kitchen line, right? And power to me is the speed that the ball travels or traverses over a distance over time. So it's kind of like the velocity of the ball. Does it die after, it goes 5 feet, or does it continue at the same velocity as it's moving across the court? What we kind of like to call like court penetration or plow through is kind of how we describe it. So that's kind of the differences between pop and power in my mind.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And that's part of why I think this is so difficult to do, right? Because the radar gun, while I think it's probably a decent, it gives you a rough idea, kind of like the spin test gives you like a ballpark of like, hey, this is pretty good, this is not. I think the radar gun probably does that fairly well, but I just don't think it tells the whole story. So for exactly the reason you gave, like maybe something has, I don't know how I'd explain it, but like you could have pretty good overall power, but maybe the pop is a little more dead at the kitchen, or vice versa. Like I think a great example of this would be the 6.0 14 millimeter double black diamond. I actually think overall the 16 millimeter has more power, but the 14 millimeter feels poppier off the face when I do nothing. Like if I just hold it there for a block, I think the ball comes off hotter, versus the 16, like it absorbs a little better when I don't do anything. But if I'm like doing an overhead or driving the ball, I think the 16 millimeter hits harder. And I think that's an area where the radar gun can't pick up on that.
Right. It's very difficult to do. I think another good example of pop and power are the paddles from Selkirk, the 006 and like the 002, or even the Power Air. I feel like those the Power Air and the 002 are very poppy. So if you don't do much, the ball just kind of flies off the face with little effort, right? And that's not to say they don't get power from the baseline, but in comparison to the 006, which feels fairly soft up at the no volley zone at the kitchen line, I feel like it's very stable. It absorbs very well. But if you move to the middle of the court of the baseline and you do a full swing, that ball flies and that thing goes. So those are the differences. And yeah, it'd be very difficult to come up with some sort of metric or test to do that consistently, even for you. But I don't know. If anybody can figure it out, it'd be you, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to keep thinking about it. But, I feel like I've thought, and I've talked to different people about it, like, oh, maybe you drop a ball in the sweet spot, see how high it goes. Maybe you launch a ball at it, but then you need something that can shoot a ball at a consistent speed and spin. A ball machine doesn't do that very well because there is some variance out of the ball machine. And then also making sure that you're hitting the optimal sweet spot on a paddle for like each different shape. So you would need something to position it and know where the best spot to hit it is. Like, there's a lot of variables that go into it. And I just think it's not as easy as people want it to be. But I don't know. One day I'd love to get there. But at the current moment, I think it'll be a while before there's anything good. Who knows? Maybe I just eventually do the radar gun thing. I actually messed with that last year. Last fall, we bought this like $3,000 radar gun and experimented with a bunch of paddles measuring power from serves. And I just didn't think it was that useful of a metric. Now I have a small radar gun we can use, but like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see eventually.
What if you had some sort of machine that shot the ball at a certain speed and you were able to place the paddle and make it stable, and then you got really close and you had a super slow-mo camera that measured the distance that the ball traveled off the paddle face, and then you could count the frames, and then you could kind of figure out how quickly it moved away from the paddle face. Like, is that possible?
I think the only thing would be like you have to figure out the highest point, like what spot of the paddle will give the highest energy return, right? Like I'm thinking elongated paddle versus square. You would need to like figure out how to mark the paddle face and make sure that you're shooting the ball there to be like, make sure you're hitting the optimal spot for energy return. But I don't know. We'll see. I just keep talking to more people and we'll see what they think.
All right. Sounds good.
Yes. All right. Next one we got is, what sports or hobbies outside of pickleball do you guys do? You can go first, Will.
Let's see. A lot of it kind of goes into pickleball now. I used to play a lot of tennis. I used to do a lot of just photography and portrait photography and just, really all types of photography. I think my favorite photo I ever took was it, I forgot how many years ago it was, when the solar eclipse came. I drove, I think, 14 hours from Virginia to Tennessee, right? So I could capture that eclipse, and it's on my personal page, but those are some of the most memorable and my favorite photos I've ever taken. So that, I play Super Smash Bros. I used to play a lot of card games, TCG. I still play some Hearthstone online. Every once in a while, I'll skate. And me and my brother, we used to go longboarding. He was much better than me. I tried to do a little, longboard dancing and whatnot. That was pretty fun to do. There's a lot of little things that I kind of do, but I don't know if these hobbies are as serious as they kind of used to be. I typically, there's one serious one, and then there's like a secondary one that I kind of dabble in here and there. Yeah. But yeah, those are kind of the things that I'm into. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm very similar to you. Usually it's one primary thing, and I think we can all guess that primary thing right now is pickleball for me. But if I'm going outside of pickleball, I do enjoy playing some video games in the evening. The last few months it's been League of Legends, but I used to play a lot of Valorant. Hopefully I'll get back into Valorant soon. I've got some people to play with again, so we might give that a shot. So those are pretty good. But outside of that, guys, like I would seriously say like 90% of my day is spent making pickleball content, thinking about pickleball content, or stuff about my business, like just random miscellaneous stuff like accounting or.
Let me ask you this. Go ahead. If it wasn't pickleball, what sport would you be playing right now? And you were already as good as you are at pickleball now.
I mean, I think the obvious answer would just be tennis, but like honestly, before pickleball, I wasn't playing any sports, and like I grew up playing for quite. I played ultimate frisbee, I played tennis, table tennis would be fun too, but I don't know. I see tennis highlights all the time, and I tell Patrick, I'm like, dude, we should just pick up our tennis rackets and go to the court and just screw around and just see what it's like again or whatever.
Patrick's gonna hate it.
He's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm honestly the bottleneck on this one. So, yeah, I don't know. It would probably be tennis, I think.
Let's see. I think I would play some wild sports. I mean, yeah, obviously tennis is always going to be there. I would like to pick up high-level badminton. I used to play some table tennis, and that was fun. Volleyball. I think I would probably play volleyball. Volleyball just seems... I've been watching a lot of volleyball highlights. Badminton highlights, volleyball highlights. Sepak. I love watching sepak. I'm sure for those of you who don't know what that is, basically volleyball with your feet where you just flip upside down and you're literally scissor kicking and like bicycle kicking like every single ball over. I think that's pretty sick. And I don't know. I actually, it's funny enough, I think I watch more highlights from other sports than anything else. I watch a lot of basketball highlights, like soccer highlights, and they're just all across my feed on like YouTube and social media. I just really enjoy highlights from other sports for whatever reason. It's just so funny that the sport that you play, you watch less of those highlights. Like when I was playing a lot of tennis, I actually didn't watch that many tennis
that's
highlights. Funny. Yeah. I mean, I would watch matches, but like highlights I wouldn't watch, but highlights from other sports.
Interesting.
Yeah, I watch all the time.
Interesting. Neat.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can technically chime in on this next one. I was going to say you can't really, but it was, what do you think of the Minneapolis pickleball scene? But I guess you have experienced it a little bit, so you can kind of chime in.
Yeah. It's cracked.
It is indeed cracked.
It still awes me to this day because I talk about it and I tell other people and they're always surprised when I say, the Minneapolis pickleball scene is good, right? The only ones that obviously stay on top of it are Florida, so, California, Arizona. I don't know if I would put Texas. I guess you could put Texas, but that's because all the pros live down in Texas. But the average, player, I think, like right after that, and then not to forget Utah, but Minneapolis is right there or right under the top tier, I think. And I don't know why. Why is it, Chris, can you please tell me why it is that you have so many cracked pickleball players up there?
Dude, I honestly couldn't tell you, but yeah, I think people always, they assume, oh, it's a cold state. You guys aren't going to have that many good players, but dude, they're just everywhere. I mean, even just this week, they set up a new thing at one of our Lifetimes. It's a organized, like more of a private group thing, but it's basically just a high level evening or whatever. And there's just a bunch of really good players that come and play. It's not a lot of the 5-0 players, but Onik did come. So, I mean, we had one of our pro players there. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. We have a ton of courts and indoor facilities. Like we can play year round. Like in the summer, you go outside. In the winter, you've got several dedicated pickleball facilities. Then you've got Lifetimes. Like we just have a bunch of places to play. So I don't know. Yeah, I always have to laugh. I saw one comment recently somewhere. I don't know if it was on my stuff or someone else's, but they were like, man, Minnesota just like wouldn't hold a candle to like Florida pickleball or something. And you know what's really funny?
Yeah.
We have a Minnesota guy that moved to Florida. I can't remember where he moved to, but it's one of the much more populated pickleball areas. Like pickleball's everywhere. And he was like, dude, honestly, at least the level that he is, which is around like 4-0-ish, he's like, on all the 4-0s I've met here would lose to the ones in Minnesota. He's like, or you just have a ton of people who think like, oh yeah, I'm a 4-0. And then he's like, no, this is this is not 4-0 gameplay where I'm from. So I don't know. Can't confirm myself. I haven't played like a bunch of open play in Florida or anything. But yeah,
well, I think in Florida it's because there is a huge population that play there, so there's a larger sample set probably.
Yep.
But I mean, there's obviously good players in Florida. A lot of the pros live
for
there,
sure.
and so there are definitely high level players in Florida. So maybe it's just where he hasn't, seen. He hasn't moved through the crowd just yet. But yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, I would say that the average, Minnesotan or Minneapolis pickleball player is fairly strong in comparison. I would say from my personal experience.
No, I would agree. Every state I've gone to so far, I haven't been anywhere where I'm like, oh yeah, like wow, this state's 4-0 is like way better than a Minnesota 4-0. Like the only place maybe was California, but I'd have to go back there now and see what I think. But that's the only place that I have considered that thought before.
Yeah, I would say California. I've experienced in California, experienced in Arizona. Yeah, I still think California, probably Arizona. I don't know, for whatever reason, I think Arizona is super strong. Like when I'm just talking about just more average rec players to like 5-0s or 5s that can kind of compete or are just starting to compete in the pros, I think Arizona has like a bunch of, and it makes sense. They can play pickleball almost year round.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, this next one. Am I supposed to read this or are you supposed to read this?
Go ahead. All
right. Do you confidently feel you and Will can reach the pro level next year? Shee.
No, not even close. Now, here's the thing, guys. I don't think I will probably ever go pro. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I think the odds of me going pro while I am running the Pickleball Studio as a business and I am the primary creator or doing the bulk of the work on this channel, I don't think that'll happen. I just simply can't train enough, and I just care more about the business than I do going pro.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And obviously, Chris, you and I have played against some of these pros and played against people who are like not even like top level pros or are just getting into the pro scene. And we don't not that we say we can't hang, but we don't compare, right?
Yeah,
it's night and day.
Sure.
Like take Kyle Kazuda, Michael Lloyd, right? Pesa, Jordan Briones, right? We're just not there. And we've played against them, and we've also had the opportunity to hit and play against many of these pros. And there's definitely a gap, and the gap is only widening. Like as time goes on and more people are getting into the sport, it's just incredibly hard and it's becoming incredibly nuanced, right?
Yep.
And the thing is that it is hard to figure out really what separates you, right? The margins are fairly small, but to get there takes so much work and dedication just to, close that gap. And it's just not worth it. At least for you and me.
It would be super cool, but here's the thing. Like running this business will be infinitely more profitable than any pro career I would ever consider having. Like the only way it would be more profitable is if I was reaching like higher level pro status, and I'm not going to give up this business to chance that happening. You know what I mean?
What if you got the business running by itself? It's a flywheel now, and you could dedicate time to trying to go pro. Would you try? I'm curious, would you actually put in the effort to try?
Here's the thing. Let's just hypothetically say there was a world where that could happen, but I don't think that can happen. If that could happen, probably I would try. If the business was that autopilot, why not? Like I wouldn't mind filling I would love to spend way more hours training and getting better at the game, but I just don't think that, I don't know. I just can't imagine a world where that would actually happen. But why not? If I have the time, why not?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
You have the time. You're also a young guy.
Well, sometimes my back doesn't feel like it, but my back tells me otherwise sometimes. Oh my gosh. But all right. The next one. Is there a shot that drives you crazy? And I only have one. You want to just take a gander at what shot that is, Will?
The shot that drives you crazy?
Yeah. Only one.
Is it really? Is it the counter?
No. No.
Okay.
You're already thinking too hard.
No. You're right. I am thinking too hard. It's the lob.
No, you're still thinking too hard.
Oh, okay. Okay. What is it? I'm stumped.
It's your frickin' scoop.
Oh.
I hate that shot with a burning, especially in singles. I hate that shot.
Oh,
gosh.
Yeah.
Dang it. I don't think we've ever formally explained the scoop. Basically, guys, just imagine an extremely aggressive cross-court dink, but it goes so far off the court, and the way that Will runs to hit this stupid ball doesn't look like he's going to do what he's going to do, and then you just watch the ball go past you, and you feel really dumb. I hate it. I hate it more than anything in pickleball.
I think what drives Chris crazy is that he can't read it because there's no real backswing.
Yes.
To it.
Yes.
It's mostly just a hook with my torso rotating. So if you guys have ever watched high level table tennis, and there's no real backswing in table tennis. It is like the arm and the shoulders almost kind of stay stationary, and they're just rotating their body, and it's called a loop, a forehand loop. And I used to play table tennis, so I took some of that DNA, that technique, and I brought it to pickleball, and I do it against Chris quite often. And yes, you're right, Chris. It does drive you nuts. But we haven't really been playing against each other the past couple of times we've met, so you've been spared. Yeah.
I have been spared. Thankfully, I get to watch the other people experiences. You know what? You basically got to experience getting scooped at Jordan's camp, and you were like, wow. So that's what this is like.
Yeah, it was Kevin Fan, who was part of our cohort for the 2-day intensive. To be honest, he played quite a lot like me, I would say. Like me, maybe a couple months ago, like maybe half a year to 8 months ago, I played just like Kevin. Very fast, large groundies, very aggressive cross-court dinks with heavy spin. And yeah, he would do the scoop. And he got me a couple times with it. And you're right. I do remember looking at you. I was like, oh, so that's what it feels like. Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Kind of sucks, huh? Kind of sucks.
It does.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that is my shot for sure.
Okay. Let me see. The shot that annoys me the most. I don't know. I would say your Kyle Yates kind of annoys me somewhat. I'm not going to lie there. Particularly yours. I don't know what it is about yours. Yours is fairly hard to read. I mean, you had that whole entire clip that I did return it back, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is
you barely got a paddle on the thing.
I barely. It hit like the tip.
But still won the point.
Yeah. Drop shot lob. If that's even a real, that's exactly what happened. That's the shot that came off my paddle. It was a lob shot, drop into the kitchen. You slammed it, and I was able to dig it back, and then you foot faulted. Like,
yep. Just look for the short on my channel, guys. There's a video. You can watch it if you so please, but it's pretty embarrassing.
Let me see. Is there anything else that I really hate? I can't say that there is another shot that I really dislike that much. I would say if I had to pick one, it's heavy slice returns. Like the people who can do it really well and keep it really low. That shot is very difficult for me to, I guess, kind of pick up and get back into the court. So yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
All right. Let's go to the next one. Go into my first 20 next weekend. Top tips for staying loose and not playing tense. Whew. All right, Chris, hit him with it.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest one is if it's your first tournament, you don't have anything to lose. I mean, basically just go for it. Like, I still get nervous for my first matches at a tournament, and I don't really know why. I think I've been to enough that I should just be over it. But usually the second one, I'm fine. The biggest thing I'd say is, like, if you play tense, like, you're probably just not going to play that well. You just have to get yourself to play loose. Like, you're going to miss some balls. if you miss one while you're playing tense, like you got to just forget about it and keep going for it. Like missing shots in pickleball is just part of the game. And if you continue to play tense, it will. Every time I've played poorly, it's because I play really tense and timid. And usually when I have played really well, it's because I said, screw it, let's just go for it.
Yeah. I would say when I'm playing, and I still get kind of tense for tournaments as well. And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that you care, and it's competition time, right? And that's kind of the beauty of going to tournaments and competing, because if you don't get that feeling, then what's the point, right? So for me, I kind of go to the shots that I'm most comfortable with, right? So I would say I'm a driver. Like I like to drive. I'm a banger, I would say. So if I feel confident with that, even if it's kind of not working, right? I mean, I'll try other things, but I just kind of go to the shots that I know, even if it's not probably the best shot to do, or if they're countering it really well. But if I'm already tense and I try to do another shot that I'm not confident in, then I'm going to lose that anyways. So if you're tense and something's not working, or you're trying to drop the ball, you're trying to figure them out, trying to figure out the other team, just kind of go back to what you know, trying to build some of that confidence back. And the thing you have to remember is that if you're tense, the other team is also feeling the pressure as well. You think that the other team is going to play perfect. Like if you mess up something, you're going to pop up a ball and you're like, oh, if I pop this up, I'm going to get destroyed. They're going to crush this at me. But they're just as tense as you are. And there's an opportunity or a chance for them to also make the same mistakes that you would think that they would not make. But everybody makes mistakes. That's what you have to remember. And the key is that you just won't, you don't have to play perfect. You just have to play better than the other team. That's it, right? Don't think about playing perfect. Just play better. That's all.
Yep, I agree with that. That's good. That's good. All right, next one is, do you add lead to your paddles? If so, where? Yeah, I pretty much add lead to almost every paddle unless the swing weight is at like 120. Then I usually don't add any lead to the paddle. But for me, I always default to the bottom two corners. That's like my go-to place. It obviously depends on the paddle. Like a gearbox, I added a little bit to the head on the CX14 Ultimate. Sometimes it's the sides, but I would say 80+% of the time, I just add the bottom two corners and call it a day. How about you?
For the most part, I try not to add lead tape because I think it's somewhat of a hassle. But if I do, it is typically, I start off with the 9 and 3 o'clock positions because I value the stability of those areas in the paddle. I don't like it near the head because I don't want it too top heavy. But to be honest though, I do tend to like a more top heavy paddle, at least when compared to the things that Chris likes to play with. So typically 9 and 3 is a good in between because I like the stability for swinging fast and then digging out balls. Sometimes I will add to the throat as well, but that's rare. But funny enough, the bread and butter filth that I'm currently playing with, at least quite a lot more these days, it's probably 50-50 between the filth and the Ronbus R3 Pulsar. The Pulsar I don't add any weight to, but with the filth I added a little bit of weight to the 4 and 6 o'clock, so the bottom corners that you like, Chris, and it's done well for me so far. Yeah
Bottom corners, I think, especially if you don't know anything about lead or how to really use it, it's just a good default spot to try. It's probably not going to be the best for every paddle or best for every individual, but it's hard to go wrong with it. It's usually a pretty good
safe
go-to
bet.
spot.
Yeah.
Hard to mess it up, because if you add it at the head, it might become too head heavy, hurt your elbow, hurt your wrist, hands too slow. Like there's just more. You kind of have to. I feel like you need to know what you want more when you add it to the head.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on to the next one. Do you have any plans to start a paddle business? I think this is primarily directed at you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I've considered it in the past, but I definitely don't have any intentions anytime soon. I just think if I was going to do it, it would really have to be done right. I'd probably want to do something in the US. I mean, I think in the last 6 months, we've all seen what can happen quality control wise over in China. Not to say that it's bad over there, but I think unless you are in China at the factory and you have someone either quality control checking or really knows their stuff, or if you can even be there and like talk to these people, I think it's just really hard to know that you're going to get the product you want. We've all seen the grit textures being of varying levels. Like there's just quality control issues, period. And I feel like if I was going to do it, I would want to go all the way and do it as good as possible and also make something different. And, you know, as we've seen, if you produce it in China, everyone will probably get to copy it. So, yeah, no plans anytime soon. But, you know, it's always in the back of my mind. Maybe one day.
Okay, one day. Well,
yeah.
Can't wait to see it when it comes out. I'll give you, you know, I'll be the first review of whatever paddle that, you know, you come out with.
Now I got to give it to Zane. Zane made sure if I ever released a paddle, he said to send it to him. So I'll send it to him. We'll see. We'll see what he has to say if I ever make one. But anyways, next on the list, is there a paddle that you disliked at first that you changed your mind after a couple of uses? I tried to think about this a little bit. Mm-hmm. The only one I could really think of was the ProKenix Black Ace. I don't think I loved it initially. And then after adding lead and just playing with it more, I actually ended up liking the paddle quite a bit. I know there's other ones. I just can't think of them off the top of... Well, actually, take that back. 003 was also one of them. When I first started hitting it, I was like, yeah, this is okay. It's decent, but I don't love it. And then I put lead on that, and I was like, dang, now this is a good paddle. And then I used it for, you know, probably 6 months or something. So probably those two for me.
So for me, the paddles that I did not like at first go or first glance or first touch was the Power Air from Selkirk, and I mean to some extent the 002. And I didn't like those because at the time I was playing with some very plush and more soft paddles like 16 millimeter, and I was just on the search for more power, and I said, you know, I'm just gonna give this a good go, like a month or so. And then I kind of got used to it, and then I learned to really like it. It still wasn't perfect, and part of me thinks that it was because I was not skilled enough or didn't have the proper technique at the time, but I learned to really like the Power Air and the 002. And the next paddle that I think that really grew on me is Zane's paddle. I know you don't like Zane's paddle, and at first I didn't like it that much either, especially the way it looked. Still think it looks atrocious, but I learned to really like that paddle, and I do like Zane's paddle now. To me, it's just another 14 millimeter Hyperion, to me at least. So yeah, those are the two.
Yeah, for sure. Nice little list. Okay. All right, on to the next.
Yeah. Favorite pickleball outside of the X40. Did this person just assume that the X40 is your favorite ball?
I mean, I think if they've heard us talk about the Dura, they probably have a guess. Here's the thing. I like playing with a Dura. What I don't like is that it cracks all the time and I have to replace them. That's what I don't like about Dura. But how the Dura plays, well, okay, let me rephrase that. The Dura does frequently take some really stupid bounces where the ball just doesn't come up.
Yes.
And I don't
that.
personally experience that with a Franklin. So I will say that's another strike for the Dura. So it's not a perfect ball, but generally speaking, I'd rather play with a Dura. And then if I can't play with a Dura, I'm completely blanking on the company name. The Oso Fury. That ball is what I would go to if I just had an unlimited supply of them. Oso Fury. If I can't play with Dura and I can't play with Franklin.
I see. I haven't played enough with all the other balls to say, you know, one way or another which one I prefer. Obviously, I play a lot with Dura and I play a lot with Franklin. But yeah, I mean, I did play with Oso Fury when you brought it along, and I did like it. I thought it was kind of like a good in between the Franklin and the Dura, I would say. But I don't know. Over here in Oklahoma, it's X40s and Duras all day. I'm probably very much like the rest of the country. You know, I think it's hard for a ball to make a big wave or a big splash. But honestly, I'll play with pretty much whatever you bring to the court. If it's the only thing, like I'll play with the indoor ball, like an Onyx Fuse outdoor if I have to. No biggie.
I've got limits, Will. Come on, I have standards. I have morals. Come on, we don't play with that indoor. No. That's not pickleball. you might as well be playing volleyball at that point.
Yeah, okay. Some be strong. What have you played? Would you play pickleball with the foam ball, like the red dot foam ball that they use for USTA tennis? We should.
I mean,
try
I've
that.
never tried it. I mean, it'd probably be fun to mess with, but I'm sure it wouldn't really. It would feel very different from pickleball. That's for sure.
I definitely want to try it now. Now I'm curious. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to give it a shot.
All right.
But next one we got is what's the next tournament we're playing in, and it's probably going to be Kansas because we definitely can't even get into Seattle because all the events are full, so I don't even know that I'm going to that one. But Kansas for sure is next on the docket unless something surprises Will and I.
It'll be Kansas. I think you already signed up for it. I saw that I got an email saying I was selected as a partner on Pickleball Brackets. You might have to help me through that because I have not gone through Pickleball Brackets. Is it
that website blows?
It's worse?
Dude, I don't know if I would say worse. It's up there. Like, they definitely people have been making all these memes about like, wow, I never thought I'd be grateful for pickleball tournaments. And I kind of felt the same way after signing up for this tournament.
No way. It can't be that bad. You're kidding.
I'll tell you what, you try and go through it yourself, and then you can just tell me what you think of it. Part of it, here's where I'll give credit. Part of it is that I think we're so used to all the crappy things about pickleball tournaments and how to navigate it. Now that we're going to a new system and that it's kind of bad and we're confused, it's just like a combo of like, wow, all of this sucks. Ugh. Like, I'm sure we'll get used to it. But yeah, there's a lot of complaints about pickleball brackets. So they need to GG go next.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's maybe that's the reason why we don't end up playing Kansas, because I don't even want to go through signing up. Who knows?
You do need to sign up soon, by the way, because I think if you don't sign up within a week of me registering, they just take me off the list.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll do that right after we record this pod.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I definitely want to compete in that tournament.
All right.
I'll also get to play mixed there. Me and my mixed partner is going to come to Kansas, so we'll get to.
Sick.
Yeah, wait, that'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to that.
Which level are you playing?
4-5.
Okay. All right. Me and Katie. It's going to be my first time playing mix as well. We'll be in 4-5 as well. We'll see you in the finals.
Dude, that would be so funny. Okay, if we get to play each other in the finals, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But just playing each other, period. Please, here's the only thing I'm asking. Tournament organizers, whoever you are organizing Kansas, I swear to you, if you put me and Will in the first round,
yes, I
will scream. I don't want to have to put Will in the loser's draw right away. That's just not nice.
This guy.
Come on.
He thinks he's going to put me in the loser's draw. That's definitely not happening. No,
I'm not scared of you, Will. In fact, we'll probably target you instead of Katie.
Okay. No, I want that to happen. That's what you're gonna regret it. That's all I'm saying. Shoot. Get ready for this. It's going to be scoops all day. You might as well, I'm going to be Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors, all for you, Chris. You already know.
That's so funny. Okay. Oh man, well that'll be fun if we get to play each other in Kansas.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next question. These are from your Discord. The first one: does being short impact your Ernie abilities? Will. And the shorter answer is no. But also, it would help to be a little taller. I'm not gonna lie. There's more you can reach for, but really, Ernies just kind of come with, I think, more so anticipation, right, and footwork. If you have good anticipation and footwork, you can Ernie quite a bit. And I like to think that I Ernie quite a bit, or at least more than the average player, even at my level. And I know people who are way taller than me who do not Ernie nearly as much. But also, this Ernieing thing is also, you wouldn't think it, but it's also dependent upon your partner, right? So what I'm trying to say is that if your partner is being very aggressive at the no volley zone, or the opponent's fear hitting the ball to your partner can help you in a way set up the Ernie, because they're starting to make the opponents hit towards you more, hit wider and wider, and then if you kind of cheat towards the middle a little bit, they think they see an opening and you just anticipate it and you preemptively, move your feet, then you can hit more Ernies. Now, I will say that being short impacts the quality of my ernies. Like some ernies that I was like, oh, if I was a little bit taller or a little bit longer, I'd be able to put this away or add more punch to it. But for the most part, nah, it doesn't affect my ernie abilities. I really just try and place my ernies more so now. And plus, everybody is getting so good at defending now, it doesn't surprise people anymore. And it's more placement than anything. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to ernie and people are ready for it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to scramble back to recover. And I'm working on new like ways to ernie so that I can recover better. And maybe that'll be in a future video or whatnot. But yeah, that
I will say you are very good at hitting ernies for your height.
Yes, thank you.
Like, my brother Isaac is basically, he might as well be a foot taller than you.
Yes.
And he never goes for him, and you hit him all the time.
I'm surprised Isaac does not go for them. It boggles my mind. And it's not...
I think he just needs to sit down and do it. I think he just doesn't think about it. But I'm like, dude, you were given this height. Like, use it. If I had that height, there are so many things I would do.
Right, exactly. So... yeah, you teach him the ernie. Once your brother learns the ernie, then maybe he'll eventually surpass you in terms of the best brother out of you three. Maybe
one day he will.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is, how were you doing your backhand roll before Jordan fixed it? And I mean, without a visual, guys, it's going to be kind of hard to explain. But basically, I only used my wrist. Like, I would basically just like really quickly like kind of twitch my wrist up, like you're rolling the ball, but like only with my wrist. And there were several limitations of this. One, I was trying to do it really fast to generate more spin because you're brushing on the ball faster. And then basically Jordan was like, okay, first you need to drop your paddle head more because you don't drop it enough. So I started working on that. And then it's more of rotating my forearm. So if you imagine your forearm is pointed towards the ground with your fingers, and then you pointed your fingers up towards the ceiling, that would be like the motion of rolling your forearm. And basically it was just doing that and slower depending on the height of the ball, and that helped a significant amount. Like I mean it's just a completely different shot for me now.
Yeah, you should get the slow-mo footage that Jordan shot of you doing it before and after, because it really helped to just watch yourself in slow motion to see. So highly recommend that if you guys just pull out your phone, because most phones can shoot in slow motion, set it up on a tripod and then do a shot. Have somebody toss you a ball or the type of ball that you want to hit, and then try doing it and then see what it looks like, and do it a few times. Try to find one where it was successful and one that wasn't, and then compare the two. Or have somebody who is good at doing it or is a good coach, and they can kind of point out what makes it work and what like doesn't work for you.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that is it's mostly it for me on the backhand roll. Like I don't know, I need to go practice it still. Like there's a bunch of stuff I still got to implement from it, but the building blocks are now there. Now I just got to implement.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. What was your and Will's life before pickleball? Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go first? All right. Well, my life was a struggle. I don't know what else to say. I didn't know. Let's see. Well, before it was a struggle, I was doing a lot of photography, freelance and video work from various companies to for myself to with my friends. Some of my friends now, one of my good friends now works in Hollywood as an action designer. And what that means is they help design the action sequences in movies. And the last one that he worked on, as far as I know he worked on smaller projects, but the last two big ones that he had a hand in was Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Oscar-winning film Everything Everywhere All at Once. And he worked with the Marshall Club guys, and dude, their work is phenomenal. And I used to do that stuff with them, and I stopped. I had to stop, and I don't think I would have gone with it. He went, all the way, but I just couldn't keep up. That work is so hard, and it's such a grind, and you get injured, and yeah. So I went a different route. So that's what I was doing beforehand. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, before pickleball, it was just all filmmaking. I mean, Speedcubing too, but there was probably I would say about a year transition where I was kind of out of the speed cubing world, and then, you know, I was focusing a lot on the filmmaking business. And then, I don't know, that gap year was just kind of, I don't know, it was not a very fun year. I think speed cubing was so much a part of my life. I mean, I did it for 12 years, and it was a big part of like who I was, both like as a competitor and just like it's what I grew up doing. So leaving that, I think part of me was just kind of like, shoot, like, what do I do? What do I do now? Obviously, I loved filmmaking, but, you know, COVID happened. That was super stressful. And then, you know, people have heard me talk about I was getting really burnt out. It wasn't a fun time. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, pickleball just came at a good time. Like, I was just in between things and trying to figure out what to do. And pickleball kind of fell into my lap. And I was joking with Lily today, kind of our agent / editor.
Yeah.
You know, I was saying basically when I got into pickleball, I was like, dang, this is so much fun. And it's all I could think about while doing my client jobs. And I was like, shoot, if I don't make pickleball my job, I'm not going to have any clients because all I'm going to be doing is I was like, I need an excuse to be on the pickleball court. And the only way to have that excuse is to make it my job.
Yeah. Smart.
So here we are. Now it's my job.
Now it's your job. Ugh.
But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I was at. You know, I don't think I was doing anything too exciting. I was honestly pretty stressed about like, how do I become a better filmmaker? What's next for me? And now, thankfully, I don't have to think about any of that anymore.
You and I had the same kind of thoughts. We were in the same sort of place in our careers, I would say. And that's, you know, part of the reason why I think we became such good friends is because we kind of went through those ups and downs together and finding pickleball together. So that's really cool.
You and I have like a ton of it's kind of just the weirdest thing when, like, you know, we both really enjoy tech, filmmaking, pickleball. Like, we were, you know, into some video games, like some other nerdy stuff. Like, it's just weird, man. You're just an older version of me.
Yeah, I am an older version of you.
An older version of me that acts younger.
No, that's true. That's true. I tell people all the time, I think you and I would still be good friends, even if it wasn't for pickleball. Like, we would still hang out for sure. We have so much in common and so much things that we do that we would still be friends. But the fact that we're both super into pickleball and that we're both having careers, you know, video making and YouTubing on pickleball just accelerates that like even more, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Well, completely agree.
Well, speaking of our channels, what are your channel goals for the next 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, I have some, I guess, ideas. I've got some other content ideas. I don't want to say them yet so that people don't steal them, but I've got some fun content ideas coming up for the rest of the year. I'm going to hopefully soon start experimenting with a lot more short form content. It's not been my favorite thing in the world to make, but now I won't have to be editing it. So hopefully that will help me produce more of it. So you guys may start seeing a lot more stuff on Instagram and YouTube Shorts. So that'll be a big focus. But I mean, you know, just continue to stay up to date on the podcast and the paddle reviews and hopefully continue to improve it as much as possible. I think the new format where you're seeing my thoughts more on court, I think was a pretty big step for the channel. It's been easier for me to make. It's more fun, and it seems like the audience enjoys it more too. So
nice. That's good. That's good. Let's see. For me, for the next 6 months, my goal is to essentially get where Chris is at right now, for the most part. like in short, I mean, I have some other things that I want to do. I think you guys have heard me talk about it before. I want to travel to places, and I want to really explore the pickleball community at large. Not just really focus on the pros, but focus on the people that are just playing pickleball, average people like you and me, playing with them, sharing their stories, sharing the places that they play, and trying to also develop my channel as well and become a little bit more consistent, a little bit more streamlined and focused on what I want to do. I think I have a fairly good idea of me and my brand and what I want to do, but how that looks is still kind of up in the air. I do a little bit of everything, and right now I'm doing even more so And you know, I might just tell people now. Should I tell people now? Like what I've been
Are
up
you
to?
gonna? Are you really about to drop it? You
I
gonna
don't
do
know.
it?
I don't know. Should I? Nah. I think that needs to go on like its own. I don't know. A focus somewhere else.
Oh man! All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. One day.
Maybe. You know what? Actually, I think one of the next episodes when
Number 50.
Yeah, number 50. When I'm gone, right? Like when.
Well, you won't be gone for number 50.
Maybe number 50. I don't know. It'll be one of the next ones. So stay tuned, and you'll get to know and hear what Pickleball Will has been up to, and you may like it or you may not, but
We'll see.
You'll know. There's a lot of things going on, so we'll keep that for
sure.
later. We'll keep that for later. All right.
We got a funny one here.
Yeah.
If you have to play Ben Johns in a 2v1
Oh, God.
and in a match, and the loser has to leave pickleball forever, who are you choosing for the best chance of winning?
Wait. We had to play Ben Johns too, so it's us two versus Ben.
No. You and I both get to pick anyone we want. Like, we're not playing with each other. You get to pick a pro. Which pro are you choosing to stay so you don't have to leave?
Oh my gosh, that's a good one. That's a good question. I need some time. Have you thought about? You've obviously read this question, so you might have had somebody in mind.
I read the question, but to be honest, I didn't really think of anyone. So I'm gonna think for just a second and see. I've got. Oh man, there's some good options out there.
All right, what are the
There's
options? Give me the options that you're thinking
No,
of right now.
I'm not gonna share my options.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, no. Because the loser has to leave pickleball forever.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you either leave or I have to leave. Okay, you might have to fast forward or chop this up because we're probably thinking way too long.
We probably are thinking. How about this?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go 10 more seconds and then we'll count down and we'll say our answer at the same time.
Oh my gosh, wait. You need to give me more than 10 seconds. Give me 20 seconds to think this
No,
through.
you got 10 seconds
10
and your countdown
seconds?
starts now.
Okay, all right. Yo, I'll let you say it. Go ahead. Or I'll let you count it down.
Are you ready?
I think.
Are you,
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's
Okay.
go.
okay. On 3. So I'll say 1, 2, 3, and then give your answer. All
Okay.
right.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Federico.
Colin. Okay.
Colin.
I picked Colin.
Just because he knows Ben's game?
Yeah, he knows Ben's game. He's an amazing resetter, right? Like, he can set me up, and so I feel like Colin is probably the best shot. Federico, I did think of Federico. I also thought of Riley. But, I mean, J-Dub was kind of in there too, but no, I picked Colin. And it's partly because, yeah, he knows Ben, and I've seen his hands, and yeah, that's the real reason why.
Here's the problem. Ben would choose to target one of us, and I don't know that I would choose Colin to come over and save me because I'm going to be useless in that match. Hopefully Federico can just push me off the court, and I'll just save him when he can't reach a ball. I'll just be the backup, you know what I'm saying?
Now, if we're doing this, I'm playing left-hand side, and me and Ben are going at it.
You mean you and Colin?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, Colin's a smart answer. He would know Ben's game better than anybody, so I think that's a wise answer.
Or you can let us know in the comments, who do you think would win against Ben? Me and Colin, or Chris and Federico?
All right. We'll read this next one. This one's great.
Okay. All right. There's a lot of fun ribbing and smack talk on the pod. So my question is, can you both say one nice thing to each other without laughing? Oh, impossible. I'm just kidding.
I'm already laughing.
Okay. I think I could do it. Can you do it? That's the real question.
All right. Go ahead and do it. What do you got?
Damn, this is so hard. Okay.
You're already laughing and you haven't even said anything.
Okay. Chris is probably one of the most honest and respectable guys that I know. He is honestly an inspiration to me, and I'm sure like a lot of other people. Just a genuinely great guy. And to be quite honest with you, if I wasn't where I am now, if I wasn't at the ripe old age of 35 with some wisdom behind me if I was like 5 years younger, and maybe even a little bit younger than that, I don't know that I would like Chris, because he would just like everything about me. I was like, wow, he's too nice. He makes great videos. He plays pickleball really well. I would probably hate him, or I'd probably be very envious of him. But honestly, right now I have only nice things to say about Chris. Really, that's what it is. I mean, nice things to say in a vacuum. On the spot or whatnot, I'm roasting the crap out of him. You already know.
All right. Well, that was good. You made it through that whole thing without laughing.
See?
And now I was going to make a joke initially, but after hearing that, now I'm like, dang, I don't think I can't follow that nice statement up with a joke.
You can. You see, Chris is actually a troll. You see, you guys don't know. People think Chris is just really nice, but no, Chris is a bigger troll than I am. Don't ever get to know Chris personally, because if you do, you open up the floodgates to the biggest smack talker you've ever met in the whole wide world. And here's the thing, okay? It's not that he can back up his smack talk, right? Because his pickleball skills aren't that great. But the thing is that he'll make a video about it or something, and he'll just make you look like an idiot. And you have to weigh that into your consideration when you are either smack talking back at Chris or doing something, because there's repercussions to your actions when you deal with Chris. See, that's the thing.
It's true. Also, whoever asked this comment is going to get a great kick out of that super wholesome statement and then right back into the roasting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
I'm ready for it.
But on my serious note, I would say one of the things I've really appreciated about you is, one, I think when I can get very caught up in, just the day-to-day business stuff, or just like, oh, I'm not that good at this thing. And I feel like you're very good at pointing out, like, no, you are good at this thing, or even you just kind of like help dig me out of certain things, or we can just kind of talk things over. And I feel like there's not a lot of, I'm in my head all the time. And you're even just the other day when we were talking about the, like me hiring an accountant or whatever, you were like, dude, yes, it's a lot of money, but like every time you go through this, after you do the thing, you're like, wow, why didn't I do that sooner? And I haven't even finished setting this up with the accountant yet. Like, we've basically just had the onboarding call, and I'm already like, dang, I should have done this a while ago.
Yeah, and I know my face is just swirling in your mind, and I'm just being like, I told you so. And you're like, darn it, Will. Yep, you're right.
It's true. So, like, I really appreciate you and I, in the middle of our work days, we'll FaceTime each other all the time, like when we get stuck on something.
Yeah.
And I think I really appreciate having someone to be able to do that with, because it's, honestly, I don't think people realize, but like, you and I both do have a circle of people we can kind of bounce stuff off of. Like, if we had to call people, we have those people. But I think you and I just call each other all the time when we're stuck. And usually, I would say more often than not, the other person helps them get unstuck. So I appreciate having you be there to help me with that type of stuff.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. Anytime. You're the homie.
Wow. We both like, I feel like we just shed a single tear. I think some people in the audience might be shedding some tears right now. They're like, wow, I've never heard them say nice things to each other.
I feel like that can't be entirely true. We've had to have said nice things to each other in the past.
This is the part where I wish we had those super fans who would go back through every episode and tally up how many times we trolled each other and how many times we said a nice thing. And I bet you the counter is like 8-1 or like 10-1.
Probably swayed one way. But how many conversations that are recorded online where like people are actually saying nice things to each other?
That's true.
Probably very
not
minimal.
often.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We keep the sappy stuff for the FaceTime calls, guys. Come on.
True. All
right. Last question, Will. If you rated your shots out of 10, but then had the ability to magically move some points from one stroke to another, what shot would you take / give, and how many points? Okay, I'm not going to go through every shot here.
Oh.
But I've already got a couple. Well, here's the thing. It's not really a shot. It's like a stat. Okay, before I go into mine, do you have one?
A shot that I would take stats off of and add somewhere else. Huh. I think so.
Okay, which would it be?
I would take points off of my drive, right? My forehand drive, and I would add that to my resets.
Ooh, interesting answer.
Yeah, I would add that to my resets. I think if I could reset 50% like better, or half as good as what I feel like my drives are, I think I'd be a much better pickleball player.
Shoot, I like that answer, but I'm not going to copy it. Dang, that's a good answer.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just going to go with what came into my head. I would probably take some points off of my serve and I would move it to my overhead. Or just like putaways in general. So like anything like above shoulder height.
Yeah.
That's what I would boost.
Okay, that's not that bad. That's actually pretty good.
Now, because like, you can live with some less points on the serve, and I feel like my serve is, I'm not going to say it's a 10, but I feel like it's a solid 8 at least. So like I could afford to take some points off that and give it to my like 1 overhead.
Okay. My 1.
So I go from like an 8 serve to like a 4 overhead.
You mean to a 3.5 overhead? Yeah. Okay.
Hey, yeah, that's odd. Okay, that was too good. I should have thought about that one. Dang it. That's pretty good. Okay. Oh my gosh, guys. Well, that is all the questions we had this week. I guess there wasn't technically a formal kitchen this week, but you know what? We'll call the part where we had to say nice things to each other the kitchen this week. That was the meat and potatoes of this episode.
Yes.
We'll have to, I can't wait to hear, by the time people hear this, let's see, there'll be one other pre-recorded episode that goes out and then the one after that. So I guess 2 weeks after this one is when people will hear about your trip. So hopefully you enjoy Italy. That'll be a fun time.
Yes.
Have you been before or no?
Never been before. So I'm pretty excited, but the excitement hasn't really hit me until this week. This is something my girlfriend was planning for a while with some of our friends, and and it just kind of crept up on me. I was so busy with other traveling and just working, with pickleball related stuff, and then I got back and I was like, oh my gosh, we're leaving real soon, and so we're gonna go. I haven't decided if I'm gonna bring my pickleball paddle or not. I don't even, maybe I'll pick up padel over there. Who knows?
True. You definitely, trying padel would be sick.
Yeah, I want to play padel so bad. So we'll see.
Here's the thing, man. Like, okay, at some point, I will get to the point where I can take a solid vacation. But you're going to be gone for what? Almost 2 weeks, basically?
Yes.
Okay. The thought right now of me leaving for 2 weeks makes me uncomfortable. Like, I can't. It would be so hard for me to take that time off. Like, I can't even imagine.
Because you're really focused and dug into your business right now. And that's a great thing because, you're really into it and you're finding lots of success. Honestly, I feel that same way because, I have aspirations to, do better and be more successful with my channel. And taking these 2 weeks off is going to be a little painful, I'm not going to lie. But also at the same time, I just hired kind of an agent editor, the same one that you're using. We're going on call, so I think that'll be good. I also do have some content already uploaded and kind of lined up. Would I like to have more? Is it where I want to be? No, but I'll still be able to get some work done. But also my situation and circumstances are a little bit different. And because my channel is not as large as yours right now, and you also have the newsletter, you have your website and everything, which I will plan on implementing soon, you have more of these responsibilities, and people are essentially counting on you. They're relying on you, and not only that, but you just hired your brother and things like that. So you have people counting on you, whereas me, I have a little bit more flexibility. So does it feel? Am I happy, excited to go? Yes. Does it feel good? Not necessarily, but we're just in different stages right now. But I already know there's going to be a time where you're going to be doing so well, like things are going to be on a flywheel. You're going to be able to take a month off and you're going to come back and it's like nothing changed, Oh my gosh. A month off. I think my heart just like skipped at least 4 beats even hearing that. That's how Chris works so hard. Like for any of you guys out there, obviously if you're listening to this pod, you're not a hater, but if there's any haters out there that are jealous of like you, Chris, like, and your success and the work that you put in, like, they can't be, because nobody knows. Like, I know you work so incredibly hard. I don't think anybody really understands how hard you actually work. Probably your wife and probably me. Like, I don't know anybody else who knows how hard you work. It's kind of crazy. Like, I have to remind you to take a break.
Yeah, I mean, even Lily today was like, dude, you need a vacation.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I know, but I was like, not yet. I mean, I do think it'll get to, a stage. One day it will happen. Once more systems are set up in place and I am not relied on for everything, or I can, more batch schedule content. But what would be really fun, dude?
What?
Is if we took a vacation together. That would be fun.
We definitely are. I'm already calling it. We're doing that sometime next year.
Dude, like Hawaii or something?
Yeah, heck
that
yeah.
would be fun.
You already know it's happening. I'm like, we'll talk about it for sure. I think the place that we'll be, if the trajectory is anything like the past year moving forward, we're going to be in, I think, a place we couldn't have even imagined before, and we'll be able to take a vacation. We'll be able to do some cool stuff together. So, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and be on the lookout for what we do together for sure.
Yeah. And, last thing, I actually forgot to mention this on one of the last pods, but dude, we are probably a year and 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, maybe, I don't know, somewhere in there, but somewhere in that range, the podcast was birthed basically a year ago.
Yes.
So happy birthday to the Pickleball Studio podcast. It is crazy that you and I basically didn't even know each other a year ago.
No,
That's
is crazy.
wild. Like a year and a month ago, you and I essentially didn't know each other.
No, we didn't. And now it feels like I've known you for like 10 years.
Seriously. I don't know. The way things change in pickleball, dude, like, I don't know. I wasn't full-time. You weren't full-time. We didn't know each other.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's
I don't know.
crazy.
Maybe we'll own a major league pickleball team next year.
Yeah. Who knows? Cross your fingers. Wink.
Yeah. We'll see. But all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you next week.
See ya.